I love The House of Mouse. I always have. And it's rare that I don't like an episode, but I have to say, I wasn't the biggest fan of House of Crime. It wasn't terrible, but there are certain things that just didn't work for me, and that's mostly because the cartoons all kind of felt like just one giant thing. Whereas the thing I love about House of Mouse is that we have the scenes in the House of Mouse, and then in between that we have various different cartoons, 2 or 3. But with this one, the cartoons all seem to blend into one, and that just didn't work for me. The House of Mouse aspect is about these different. Well, it starts off with different Disney villains, and we get to see some of them, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant to begin with. And things begin to disappear and are stolen at the House of Mouse, and they have to try and work out who is the criminal and who is doing this, and they round up the villains and cart them off, but these things still keep happening. So they try and work out Mickey and Ludwig von Drake, and the rest try and work out what's going on. Goofy has some brilliant remarks towards Donald. The remark about the crab took me a little while to get it, actually, but I really enjoyed that aspect. So there were definitely positive things about it. I feel like the cartoon, this may be a slight spoiler, so I guess tiny spoiler warning, but the first main cartoon, Mickey Foils the Phantom Blot, it's actually a two-parter, and this is the first time they've ever split a cartoon into 2 parts in one episode. But I feel like that cartoon spoiled the House of Mouse aspect. They were too similar, and for me that just didn't seem to work very well. It kind of removed any of the interest. I also am not that bothered about the Phantom Blot as a character, and I didn't think that that cartoon was that interesting at all. And since that's basically the entire cartoon and the entire show, I didn't really find it that fascinating at all. We do have a Von Drake's House of Genius episode. We have a Teledinger where he's inventing things, and he's invented a telephone, and the narrator's like, that already exists. It's very brief, it's to the point, it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the cartoon, and that doesn't bother me, but because the rest of the cartoons, the House of Mouse episode, or the House of Mouse scenes, and that main cartoon are so similar, this just feels out of place, and it doesn't work. So the actual construction of this episode, the structure of it, is pretty terrible. And that is one of the reasons why I don't like it. As I said, there were bits that made me smile, there were bits of the dialogue that amused me, so it's not terrible, but it really is pretty bad. I have to say, House of Crime is the first House of Mouse episode where I've genuinely thought, that's just poorly developed and poorly constructed, and they could have done an awful lot better. There were a lot of spoiling things in this. For me, House of Crime just didn't work.